All right, so in the case that the intro stuff got deleted because we had some interesting technical difficulties. So I really just want to talk about a few things that you have access to help you get ready for the exam. So there's a couple of things that are in section 701, and I was going to show those off. So in e-learning, in the 701 section, which we refer to sometimes as the exam section, but there are a couple of different things. One of those is actually the exam blanks and keys for the F22 semester or fall 22. That's last year. There's oftentimes a lot of questions like, how do you phrase different questions, or what sort of parameters do you give us for the short answer questions, or various things like that. One of the easiest ways to figure that information out is to actually go ahead and just take a look at what we did last year. Now, we do change things from year to year, so this is not exactly the same. It doesn't have exactly the same authors that we had writing the exam last year. And like we had a different calculator policy last year. We didn't give people equations last year. So some of these pieces are different, but a lot of the general things are the same. So there's a lot of good things to look at to just get a kind of a handle on what happened last year, because while yes, things do change from year to year, some of the things at least will be the same. There's also information for midterm exams. So this then will give you the potentially useful information. So like, which equations do we give you? That's this piece of paper, and the periodic table that we're going to be using. So all that information is also hanging out in here. So again, just more things so that you know what we're going to give you, what it's going to look like, because we're just going to print off this PDF and add it to your exam. So very straightforward in that regard. Then, so periodic table, potentially useful information and equations. Also, we will provide scantrons for you. So for all of your exams that you take with us in general chemistry, we will always give you a scantron. So you don't have to worry about where you're going to buy one or which kind you need. You need the one we're going to give you. So we're going to pass it out. Don't worry. You'll answer 2 short answer questions on the back of that scantron. So do try to remember to put them on the back of the scantron so you get credit for it, because that scantron is the only thing I'm going to take home to grade. We aim for between 28 and 35 questions. I know that's a really big range, but that's basically 28 is pretty much the lowest we go. 35, I don't actually know that I've ever seen us do an exam with 35 questions, and I've been here for 10 years. But it's what we use as the upper limit. So we use the upper limit. 33 I've seen, but 35 I don't actually think I've seen. You will have 80 minutes after everything is passed out. So basically at 10 a.m. on that Saturday, September 16th, we will say, all right, turn your cell phones off, put all your notes away, let's get going. And then they'll pass out all the scantrons, they'll walk you through how to fill them out, they'll pass out all the exam booklets. So depending on how big the room is that you're in, that will take somewhere between 5 minutes to like 15 minutes, just depending on how fast they go. So you have 80 minutes from whenever the proctor says you may begin. Once they say that, your time starts, but only once they say that. So 80 minutes after everything is passed out. So don't get nervous if something takes a little bit longer. 80 minutes begins once the proctor says go. I will also say, if you're late for whatever reason, do just get started on the content, because while we will get very uppity about you bubbling in more answers after time is called, you cannot do that, by the way. I will report you to the, what's it called now? OCSC, Office of Student Conduct. I missed a C in there somewhere. And they will walk you through various things that are not very much fun. So you cannot bubble past time. But if you haven't put your name on that thing yet, we will watch over you and let you put your name on your exam. So if you are late, just get started. But don't be late, honestly. Don't be late. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. Be early. Don't be stressed out. Being late's very stressful. Bring pencils and ID, calculator with scientific functions. See the syllabus for more details for exactly what our parameters are for that. The other thing is that by now you've seen Alex, you've been working with scientific notation. You have likely seen the range of calculations that you will need by now. Do you realize that that calculator cannot connect to another calculator or the outside world? So no, you cannot use a laptop or your cell phone as your calculator. Someone asked, so I put a little link for potential questions, and so somebody asked me these, so therefore I went ahead and answered them. What's the ratio of application and straightforward questions? This is another really good time to look at the fall 2022 exam. And the reason why is because I frankly struggle even with where to put some of your Alex questions, because some of your Alex questions are very much application questions. Like that is what they are. They are taking, some of them, not all of them, but they are often taking knowledge and presenting them to you in a brand new way and asking you what to do. Those are application questions. But I could see the idea that if you already did it in Alex, then clearly you probably have seen it before, and that makes it a straightforward question. So I understand where you're coming from in this kind of a question, but because I frankly don't even know where to put your Alex questions that you've already seen, I don't know how to answer this. The other thing that does happen is there's the actual versus the perception. So even if I had some sort of ratio for you on this one or numbers on this one, what I think it is versus what you think it is will cause a distinctive difference, and you might not be happy then with whatever answer I give you. The other thing, and this was calculation versus conceptual, calculation questions sometimes seem like they will take more time or less time. I know some people that are not big fans of calculation questions, and then they want to know how many of those there are. The tricky part, though, is some of those calculation questions you've seen before, you've done them before, and so there's a familiarity to them that at least you've seen that before. The conceptual questions, though, are often things like, which of the following is true? And then you've got a bunch of statements. And that always looks like it's not that bad, but that's really 4 or 5 true-false questions rolled into one question. So that often takes longer than you might think. So again, it's a valid question to try to think through. It's just really difficult for me to answer in a way that's meaningful for you. Will we test on the slide info or the textbook info? So the textbook, the end of chapter questions are useful. But as far as what we're going to test you on, we're not going to pick something random out of the textbook that we didn't do in class. So class is where your information is coming from. Slides are where the information is coming from. But some people I know like the textbook. I know I was talking to some people last week, and my slides don't have paragraphs of words on them. And sometimes when they got home, they're like, I know we talked about this picture, but I don't know what we said about this picture. And they're using the textbook, which is great. That's what the textbook is for. So textbook's useful, but if we didn't do it in class, we're not going to pull it out randomly. My other general advice is on the exam. So a random number generator is what puts the exam together. So we don't actually mindfully think through what question 1, 2, 3, and 4 are. We hit a button, and the button gives us random numbers, and that's the order of the questions. So my recommendation is that you go through the exam and you do whatever's easiest for you first. So these can be the things that are most familiar. Maybe they're the calculation questions. Maybe they're the conceptual questions. Maybe they're everything out of chapter 4. Maybe that's your favorite stuff. I don't know. But whatever you think is easiest, whatever you are confident in, do that first, then go back. Because most of your exam is multiple choice, which means they're all worth the same points. So 4 questions that to you can do confidently, and you know you got them right, and you're like, yeah, I'm awesome, and you are awesome. that's more worthy of your time than the one question that you're like, okay, it's definitely not that one, but it's one of these other answer choices. And then you have to sit there and think about it. Even if you get that question right, if it takes that much more time, it's worth getting the things you're confident in correct and out of the way before you go back and spend the time on the things you really need to think about. I try to say some things that were in every chapter, but honestly, going back over your notes is better than whatever I wrote down here, mostly because I did this off the top of my head, and this is not an exhaustive list. This is whatever I thought about at that particular moment. So it's there. Look, quantum numbers, they're there too. I think we managed to record this first question because I don't remember when we discovered that the problem existed. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this question up here so that you can see both the question and you can see my mathematical calculation so that you can take a look at it, try it out for yourself if you didn't get to before, because this was how to do a average atomic mass question with the key right below it. It's definitely after this that then there's my handwriting, which is taking questions out of the chat, which is great. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video here and then pick up later.